Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Micah just checking in for another video review on a supplement called Trigger. It's a pre-workout and it's actually made from Infinite Mass or BecomeTheMass.com, and I actually know these people personally, Christy and Shane Johnson, and how they developed this particular pre-workout. They actually have a apparel line as well on there if you want to check it out. I actually have a promo code on there, so I'm going to leave that in the comments below. So if you're interested in checking it out after this, definitely show your love for that. And then also, you know, with any supplements, honestly, you don't necessarily need them. I wouldn't push supplements on a particular person. It's more so an added benefit, what's going to help elevate what they're really wanting to focus on, what their goals are, and if they're already doing everything that they're doing, you know, all that they can be doing as far as their workouts, their training, you know, really what they're doing for their nutrition. Supplements supplement what you're doing already. So if you're not doing all the right things, or at least most of the things, it's really not going to do as much as it can later on. So with that little disclaimer, I'll kind of go through this ingredient label as far as what's in it, what it's actually supposed to do, and just some of my thoughts initially with taking this for a few days. And so looking over the ingredient list, you've got L-glutamine, creatine monohydrate, L-arginine, caffeine, branched chain amino acids, beta-alanine, and bitter orange powder. And then there's some other ingredients listed after that. But basically, what you see is what you get. You aren't gonna you know, get a lot of fillers in this, which is really nice. Plus it actually gives you the breakdown of what how much you're actually getting per scoop or per serving. And you know, and so looking at this at first glance, this is something that typically most companies are kind of leaning towards, is really putting as many of the ingredients in there with how much you're getting. And that's a plus, because you're spending all this money on something, you want to know exactly what you're getting. So I'll go down the list and really what each ingredient is supposed to be doing, or like the benefits of it. So the first one is L-glutamine. Typically it comes in like 5 grams. It's usually attached to a whey protein or a supplement including branched chain amino acids. L-glutamine is really the most abundant amino acid that's in your body. Generally, there are 2 major reasons why you should supplement for L-glutamine, or should. And number 1 is if you have chronic sickness, chronic health conditions, there's a lot of stress on the body. So generally, you may have less glutamine floating around into your body. And so it may be helpful to supplement at that point. And then the other reason is, and when you're in extreme deficit, if you're contest prepping per se, or you're just, you know, kind of depleted, if you're in like a fat loss phase, you may not have a sufficient amount of glutamine floating around for your body to utilize. So it may be another opportunity to supplement with glutamine. So this one actually comes with 1,060 milligrams of L-glutamine, and generally right now I'm taking 2 scoops of this, so I'm getting about 2 grams of L-glutamine in this product. And then moving on to creatine monohydrate. So generally with creatine monohydrate, it's the most researched supplement that's on the market right now. It's not even marketed as something pretty in a GNC or a vitamin shop. It's generally a generic brand or generic covering label, but it's actually really effective. Basically with creatine monohydrate, what that does is when you're actually lifting weights, and ATP is basically that initial energy that you're using when you're doing like a fast movement, and what happens is it breaks down as you continue that movement. So it's called adenosine triphosphate, and basically there's three phosphate groups, and within that, and as it breaks apart, it just makes it so that it makes creatine monohydrate basically helps with having more opportunities for phosphate groups to get together so that ATP can be created again within that mixture. And it just helps out with recovery. It helps out with lean muscle tissue building, just helps out with strength overall. And so typically, you get 5 grams in a serving, but the idea is just to have 100% saturation in the muscle. So even if it's only 1 gram, like what's in this product, or taking 2 scoops, 2 grams, you're eventually going to get to 100% saturation. Some products will tell you to load creatine monohydrate. It's taking like 20 grams a day. That's really not necessary to get. You're going to get there faster. You're going to get to 100% saturation quicker, but it really doesn't matter. You're eventually going to get there, and so once you're at 100%, you're not going to go anything higher than 100%. So what I typically do is I use this, and like I said, I take 2 scoops, and then I add 3 extra grams of creatine monohydrate from another generic brand that I still have, and so I can get that 5 grams per day. And then looking at L-arginine is basically a precursor to nitric oxide and basically a vasodilator. So the idea is to open up, your blood vessels as you're working out, more blood volume going to the muscle, more nutrients are being, carried through that blood to the muscle, which helps out, with the whole process of sustaining that lean muscle tissue, or just help supplementing that as you're working out. And typically it's 3 to 6 grams that you want to see in a product for proper dosing. So you get 1,058 milligrams, so generally I get a little over 2 grams when I take this, so I'm missing maybe 1 gram out of that. And I totally understand with everybody responds differently, and really what's going to help support their potential as they continue to work out in the gym and do their things with nutrition. But generally that's what it said, is 3 to 6 grams is more appropriate for dosing. And so on a side note, typically citrulline malate is another supplement that actually helps convert into arginine as it enters into the kidneys, and it converts into that, and it's actually a lot more the absorption rate is actually better within that type of supplementation. But L-arginine is definitely still effective as far as that's concerned. So I would like to see it a little bit more higher in the dosage, possibly in a future, maybe Trigger 2.0. And then branched chain amino acids, it says in here with the matrix you get 1,025 milligrams. Typically you want to see a 2:1:1 ratio between L-leucine, L-isoleucine, and L-valine. And I typically like seeing the breakdown of what each is, so that you know that you're getting a good ratio between the 3. And so L-leucine, basically what that does is it helps the process of muscle protein synthesis start. So without that L-leucine component, that amino acid, muscle protein synthesis isn't going to happen. So it's really nice to have that. Definitely a nice factor when it comes down to building lean muscle tissue. L-isoleucine basically helps out with fat loss. It helps release fatty acids to be utilized as energy. And then also L-valine is basically, it counters tryptophan. Tryptophan is not only found in turkey and makes you tired, but also when you're working out, as you're fatigued, that's tryptophan. And so L-valine actually tries to counter that tryptophan, so that you are able to continue throughout your workout, stay focus driven within that particular workout. And then looking over the last ingredient that says bitter orange powder. So basically what that does is, what I've looked into, it actually helps out with weight loss, where it actually helped. It could speed up your heart rate, your blood pressure. So generally with anything, when you're working out and you have heart conditions, if you're doing cardio, strength training, there's some definitely some recommendations, some restrictions that you may have to follow according to your doctor. And with anything with supplements, you just don't know how your body's going to respond. So you always want to be mindful and speaking to your doctor. Hey, I'm going to start utilizing this. Can you look over the ingredients and tell me if there's anything that stands out to you that wouldn't be appropriate for me to take with my current conditions? And then, so the other thing was beta-alanine. So beta-alanine is kind of a buffering agent. So basically what happens when you work out, you get a lot of lactic acid buildup. You start getting fatigued, you start feeling the pain, and you stop. And it takes a little bit for you to recover. Basically, beta-alanine helps out as a buffering system. It helps level out your pH levels, so that actually you can recover quicker, you can get to your next set, you can accomplish a little bit more reps throughout that set as you continue to supplement with that. Generally, you're going to get that tingly feeling when you first take it, but that actually goes away quite easily. But the proper dosage is about 2 to 5 grams, and if you take 2 scoops of this, you're going to get a little over 2.5 grams of beta-alanine. And so basically the other ingredients is sugar, maltodextrin, you got some sweeteners with the flavoring, you got citric acid, sucralose, malic acid. Basically malic acid is just, supposedly it's like found in citrus fruits, and it can help out with reducing pain. And then silica helps out with preserving or avoiding spoilage. It's used to help with not with food products, so that it actually lasts a little bit longer. So those are just some of the other ingredients, but generally what you see is what you get with this product. You're not going to get any fillers. I would hope that some of the ingredients would get up to a little bit more in the dosing. I've already spoken to Shane about what it would look like if you could add a little bit more to the dosing and a few of these ingredients, just to help out with what's been found in research. And he's totally open to suggestions, which is really helpful. It's really kind of funny with the scoop in there, it actually measures out to 5 grams when you actually measure that. And I know that's not necessarily a big thing, but for me it is, because generally when you weigh out, when you compare a scoop to how much the serving size, how much it weighs, it definitely doesn't match up a lot of times, and you generally lose a lot more of that product that you're taking a lot quicker, use it a lot quicker. It's kind of a marketing thing, I think, but he's really trying to work on getting a proper scoop that can hold the right amount for the proper dosage and get possibly a bigger container. So I'm very hopeful on that front end, on what that really looks like. But overall, it's really good. The watermelon flavor is on spot on. It's not really super strong. It's actually something that's really nice and easy as far as it's not really bitter or anything, and it actually mixes really well. But if there's any questions, if there's anything that you have questions about, definitely leave them on the comments below. Also, you can check out the promo code to get to their website below, and if you are interested in checking out their apparel or any of their that supplement trigger, then you can definitely utilize that. But other than that, thanks for checking in. Have a good one. Bye-bye.